From the Denver Broncos Media Center, welcome to Broncos Country Tonight with Ryan Edwards and Benjamin Allbright.
Welcome to Broncos Country Tonight, breaking down the Broncos' loss to the Cleveland Browns 17-14. And obviously, after 4 straight losses, changes could be on the horizon for this team. But while we're recording this, at least right now, we're just going to focus mostly on the game. I invite people to check us out at broncoscountrytonight.com or weeknights on KOA from 6 to 9 p.m. as we'll be breaking it down, the latest news on the team. But for this game specifically, there were a lot of things that are frustrating, especially about the run defense, especially after the hot start that Cleveland was able to get out to, the slow start the offense was able to get out to. But I actually thought that they improved on a couple of things. I know it seems weird in this situation. I thought there was actually some highlight performances throughout. Jonathan Cooper is a guy that I thought had a really good game. I thought Shelby Harris played really well. I actually thought that the use of the screen game was something that the Broncos should be doing more, and this ended up working out perfect in this game, sort of neutralizing that pass rush from Cleveland. So, again, it isn't great. The Broncos lost this game, but I actually felt like they put some blocks together to build on.
Well, there were positive moments in there. Yeah, Shelby and Coop played well. I thought Justin played pretty well.
Yeah.
As far as that kind of stuff goes, the reality was we kind of knew that Cleveland was going to run on us because we're missing inside backers. And then when Kaiser went down and you're bringing up practice squad guy Curtis Robinson to fill in, you kind of knew that was what Cleveland was going to do.
Right.
And Cleveland took advantage of that. You know, they knew the Broncos were going to sell out to stop the run because they knew that was what they're going to do. And then they okey-doked them on the first drive. And then they did it late in the game, too, when they knew they were selling out. It was just smarter coaching. And so I think at the end of the day, we kind of knew that. The problems I had were on the offensive side of the ball. It was an abject failure of coaching on the offensive side of the ball. You called 8 run plays to 33 pass plays on a hobbled quarterback. Oh, by the way, 2 quarterback sneaks instead of using your running backs in those short yardage situations. It was just you called run plays in the 2-minute drill. You called a dive for Melvin Gordon in the 2-minute drill.
I'm not going to completely disagree with you. I guess I saw it as this was an example where the run game just really was not doing anything, and he went to the screen game to supplement a bit of that, and it worked.
But in the 2-minute drill, running a dive is
that doesn't make any sense. I'm with you.
Especially, and abandoning the run in and of itself in the screen game was a terrible idea. There was no point where you were down more than 10 points in that game.
No, that's very true.
Despite the fact that it could have been a lot worse. At the end of the game, if Dearness Johnson hadn't fallen down on purpose to milk the clock, and if Shelby hadn't blocked that field goal, we're talking about a 27-point outburst by the Browns, and it could have really been worse than that if they'd been trying.
It's remarkable because you go to the offense, and I, for the last couple of weeks, have still gone to the defense because for me, that's the biggest letdown. You know, once again, another game where the defense doesn't come up with a turnover. And
it came close. Justin on the sideline came close to one.
It came close, but again, not getting that. I mean, the best play was the blocked field goal, and I guess that kind of counts as a turnover. But really, you couldn't stop them on 3rd down. They put together really long drives. They only touched the ball 4 times in the second half. I mean, these were long, sustained drives for the most part.
But we knew they couldn't stop the run with the inside backers. Like, to me, that's not as big a letdown because we knew that was coming.
Certainly. But it's like when you know it's coming, especially with the 3rd and 4th string running backs, you feel like your elite defense, at least what you believe it is, with again, your defensive line mostly intact, would be able to slow it down somewhat.
And it certainly stinks. Anytime you've got Dearness Johnson out here looking like De'Eric Henry, when he's running toting the football, it's kind of a problem.
Did you laugh that in the car on the way over?
I used Emmitt Smith last night, but nice. I switched it up for the show. No, It's disheartening to get punched in the mouth over and over again, and that's what they did with the run game. The worst part of it for me, though, is that on the offensive side of the ball, on a night when you had 20-mile-per-hour winds and a hobbled quarterback, you chose to throw the football 33 times. That's
very
criminal.
true. Yeah, that's very true.
There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, and they never considered going to Drew Lock. We already heard from Vic Fangio. That was never a consideration.
I'm not even – I mean, if you're going to do that, you do that before the game. If you're making the bad decision to play Teddy, you're doing that for the whole game either way.
Yeah. I thought there were a couple of nice performances on the offensive line. I thought, I thought Graham Glasgow actually had his best game of the season. And I go, again, we're talking small things here, and I'm not trying to frame this as any positives. I'm just saying
Cortland played well.
Yeah, Cortland had a good game. Noah Fant, I thought actually had a couple of nice blocks. I saw a couple of nice blocks in there, and he showed a lot of intensity when he caught the passes and he tried to run and get first downs. He was
Melvin was great on that touchdown catch. Javante was good on his touchdown catch.
So that's what I'm saying. Like it's very frustrating, and 4 straight losses. There's no pretty way to dress it up. But on the other side of this, you're still in season. You still have to build off something. You can't just, like I saw all over social media, just tear it down and destroy it and get rid of everything. It's like, well, I mean, they're going to probably have some changes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the season is over. Right now, you have to build on some successes. You got to find some things that are working. And I thought the screen game with the running backs, I thought getting the running backs involved out of the backfield with the pass game was something you can build on for an offense that is really, really struggling to get out to faster starts. This team can't build out of two score deficits. That's just not what they're built to do.
Well, they can't score early to begin with at all. I mean, over the last 4 games, you scored 20 combined points. That's 5 points per game in the first half. It's just 20 points combined in the first half of the last 4 games. That's awful. And some of those defenses were bad.
Yeah.
So, it's the problem is you do have 10 games left. You're right. You got 10 games left, and you've got to figure something out because you have to play them.
Yeah.
So you got 10 games left. You need to figure out what it is that you're going to do from here on. There are some changes that need to be made. There are some changes that will be coming. How soon they come will be telling on how cognizant this staff and this front office is of where the fan base is with this team.
Certainly. But coming out of this game, don't totally understand the frustration. The Broncos did not play a very good game, but I also simultaneously say, okay, well, they got 10 days now to get a little healthier. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is going to help out this offense quite a bit. The biggest hole right now, as I see it, is the inside linebackers because, man, oh, man, teams are going to look at this tape, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Every single team is going to line up and dare you to stop them running the ball, and I don't know if they can.
I agree with that, and I would say that one caveat we haven't mentioned is that Alexander Johnson made himself a ton of money last night.
Yeah, just by not being on the field and showing.
In a contract year, Alexander Johnson made himself a ton of money last night.
Yep. We'll have more breakdown on Broncos Country Tonight, weeknights from 6 to 9 p.m. on KOA. And as always, BroncosCountryTonight.com. For Benjamin Allbright, I'm Ryan Edwards. Thanks for watching.